Dancing in the mud, redefining how food is done. You know, it never ceases to amaze me how creative young entrepreneurs can be, especially the young ones. They're just smart. They have passion, they have purpose. That doesn't mean us old folks don't have that too, but if you've ever met a young person on fire, you know what I'm talking about. Usually their ages are roughly 21 to 38. So beyond that, you're old. I love interviewing them because I like to ask them, what drove you to start your business? Where'd the business idea come from? They don't just come from anywhere. There's a reason. Where did it come from? And how do you make money? As I speak with them, I learn a lot of new things and it energizes me. My goal of today's show is to inspire and educate my listeners on the genesis of a new revolutionary business that should mean a lot to all of you if you like eating healthy food and you care about your environment. So if you don't like food and you don't like the environment, turn off the button, okay? Everybody loves that. And maybe your existing business needs a new facelift, and today's show will create some new ideas percolating in your brain to improve your business. Dr. Gina Oliver and her husband, Richard Hutchinson, are co-owners of a very unique new business called From the Land. From the Land. We're going to talk about their mission statement of the business, what products and services they offer, and what are the benefits that their offerings accrue to their target market. We're going to get all businessy on you. But before I do that, I just want to do a quick bio on the two owners. Gina grew up in a large Hispanic family in San Bernardino, like what we like to call San Bernardino Key. Have you ever heard that? I don't know. That's okay. She was a first generation college graduate and earned her STEM doctorate. I have to ask her what STEM means. I have no idea. And she is a National Science Foundation Fellow. She has presented at conferences all over the world on one of her specialties, which is sustainable food production innovations. Richard is an accomplished materials engineer, having been a research consultant at STEM Cultures LLC. His work has contributed to advancements in biomedical startups, LED technology, and sports body armor. For you young kids, that does not mean pierced earrings. Now you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. They sound like they're really smart. So what are they doing dancing in the mud? Let's bring them out and find out. Gina and Richard, what's this mud thing about? Come clean, or I guess come dirty, whatever.
Yes. Come ready to get your hands dirty and feet dirty. We had this idea of building indoor farms using ancient technologies, right?
Okay.
Yeah, as humans, we've been building with mud for a really long time, hundreds, even thousands of years.
Okay.
And it's really good at maintaining indoor temperatures, right? So if it's really hot outside, inside like a mud hut or like an adobe structure, it's going to be really cool inside. And
Is
so
that just like cool temperature or also cool like being really cool to do it? So that's why you dance in the mud.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now that we got that out of the way. So where did this idea come from to start From the Land? Richard, Gina, whoever wants to chip in. Where'd the idea come from?
So we met on a fundamental value back in 2014 about the fact that we care about giving back to our communities. And we want to take the skills that we developed and the knowledge that we've picked up and learned and apply those towards impacting people in positive and profound ways. But the core from the land really comes from Gina, and I'm going to let her talk about it.
So,
I'm before you say anything, excuse me for interrupting. I have a theory come from your grandmother.
oh, yes, yes.
How's that, huh? Detective, huh? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I grew up surrounded by really good food. But my grandmother, she was a single mom, raising 8 kids. And they didn't always have
Wow.
a lot of food. Um, and um, and so that kind of is a little bit of background of maybe, I think what has driven me to kind of think about a business idea around food.
Okay, okay. Came
And
from somewhere. Good. Go on.
yeah, but yeah, I think just my kind of a lot of different experiences in my life that got me to STEM career, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So
Aha. So that's what that means. Okay, got it.
yes, yes. Um, and I actually really took a liking to geology, and people think of rocks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of it is learning about how the planet works. And I got my PhD in it and I loved it. Um, and after like a couple years into the PhD program, I really didn't want to continue in academia. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and I wanted to see if I could take the skills that I've learned, especially in my PhD program, where I created, it's like I recreated environments in the laboratory.
Okay. Oh, it's something we all do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I do that every day.
Yeah. Um, and so, this business is really just kind of a blending of all of my different experiences. And okay, I want it to be around food. I want to still use the science that I learned. Uh,
Yes.
and right, can we make it so, more people can access more food? Uh,
Okay. So you felt that you could accomplish your own with both of your mission statements better with a business than teaching it.
yes.
Okay. So are you guys a nonprofit or a for-profit, or we don't know what we are?
We're part of this new generation of companies that would have been a nonprofit, but decided to go for profit because we believe that it's important to have a sustainable business. Uh,
Okay.
we also believe that we can do good and great while also being profitable.
Okay. That's good. Okay. So you're in, while you have your social entrepreneurship in you that you want to give back to the community because you're a for-profit and you have a family and you have housing needs and groceries, you got to make a profit.
Yes.
Got
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So in caveman language, in 25 words or less, in general, what does from the land do?
So we produce,
25 words.
okay. We produce eco-friendly indoor farms. So they're
Okay.
micro farms. So think of like a backyard shed.
Okay. Like a
And
tiny house.
exactly.
Okay.
You grow food using all of the vertical space. So
Okay.
and these farms used by anyone and anywhere.
Are you talking businesses or individuals or both?
Both.
Okay. So anybody that wants to raise their own or grow their own produce would be a target market for your indoor farms.
Yes.
And what benefits come to them by virtue of buying your stuff?
Yes. So, say somebody doesn't have a whole lot of land.
Okay.
You can put a farm in your backyard and you can grow a lot of food. But what's really cool is that our farm, you don't need a lot of no high electricity bills. You don't use
Oh, that's a big one.
yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. You don't use a whole lot of water and there's no pesticides. And so you know what's going into your food and what you're eating. So those are some really major benefits.
Yeah. Okay. So is it vegetables? Is it produce? So what food categories can you grow on your own by using your indoor farms? Can you make a Big Mac? Can you make an In-N-Out burger?
So mini livestock is actually absolutely something that we can grow in there. Right now, we're growing insects, and not everybody would want to eat insects, but you could do.
Insect? Did you say insects?
Hmm?
That bugs me when people do that.
But you could have chickens in there,
Really? Okay.
rabbits, fish. Right now, we're growing tomatoes, onions, peas, and saffron alongside the insects.
Wow.
Or even prawns would be wonderful to grow in this type of facility.
Okay.
all
That's amazing.
Mhm.
That is amazing. So how long now has From the Land been in business?
I believe for 4 years.
Mhm.
Yes.
4 years. So if you could share with me, you guys, what's been the biggest obstacles to your success? Because I'm sure there's others saying, oh yeah, I have that one too.
I think trying to we're not creating a new market, but we are developing a really different and distinct product. And so
Okay.
trying to get the funding to test it and we've been testing it for the last 3 years. And that's been important because we want to make sure that where are all of the pieces where people are going to have an issue with it. And so
I got you. So you haven't had any quote unquote official sales yet, but you're getting closer.
Mhm.
yes.
And one of the most important ones is access to capital to continue your, I guess we can call it research and development or concept testing or that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So, and all right, I get that. So what's new on the horizon? Let's say you get phase 1 of From the Land, what are some other scientific things you're thinking about that you could do? If you can share that.
Sure. So first of all, a simple one is building a network of these. Imagine around your neighborhood having a network of these facilities that are linked together and you can communicate with other people in the network. It's a lot like a fast food franchise model, but instead of it being a larger corporation, it's the individuals in the community that could be making money off of growing the food. And we're not going to have another supply chain meltdown because the supply chain's local. Your farm to table distance is now, instead of thousands of miles, just right down the street.
Ah, okay.
So it's a little bit more innovative, a little bit less sciencey. On the science side,
Oh yeah. But on that, you can kind of think of like a large co-op, right? Kind of all working together. But yeah, on the science side, we've are developing technologies to bring like natural sunlight indoors, and really low cost and efficient ways to use any sort of we basically want to take this indoor farm off grid. And so
Okay.
all of our technologies have to be very efficient. So
Well, that sort of leads into my next question. Is there anybody that's doing what you're doing? Do you have any viable competitors?
So kind of our market is shipping container farms. And
Okay,
basically they take a shipping container farm, they insulate it. They have really a lot of different high tech or with LEDs and sophisticated HVAC systems. And so that's kind of our like major competitor.
and are they on the West Coast?
They're all across the US.
Okay,
There,
okay,
there are similar shipping container companies internationally. The biggest downside is a lot of this indoor agriculture, including the shipping container farms, didn't think about energy and energy costs, as well as the fact that sometimes our grid goes down. And if our grid goes down, what happens when you lose entire crops that people are relying on for food?
aha, gotcha.
So
Okay, okay,
we've taken our
okay.
strategy.
So, is there anything unique that where the subject of intellectual property would come up, or trade secrets, or patents? Are you doing anything that nobody else is doing in terms of techniques or innovation, or you're just doing it a different way, or what?
Yeah, so I think so we have a patent that we've submitted our application for our farm design. Uh,
Okay,
and really, even though adobe building or you can also call it cob building, um, no one's ever really blended that technology with um, the kind of the automation that we have developed for it.
okay.
We're
So, can
blending.
you explain to me, Gina, a little bit more clarification? Adobe,
Mhm.
what does that mean?
Yeah. So our indoor farms, the walls, um, are made out of adobe, which is a blend of sand, clay, and straw. Uh,
Okay,
and
and
so,
that's where you dance in the mud.
yep,
Mhm.
yep,
Okay,
to make
okay,
of our buildings. Mhm.
aha, okay. So I understand you guys received a USDA phase 1 grant. Tell me about that. That must have been exciting.
Yes,
Mhm.
that was. We got that award in 2020, and we were able to build our first indoor farm. And so during that time, Richard spent a lot of time dancing in the mud, and I placed mud. So we built the walls.
so, so you made the dance floors and Richard was the dancer. And what is NIFA? What does that stand for?
Oh, NIFA is a
It's the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Is that right?
yes.
I believe it's the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, and it's part of the USDA.
Okay. And you've got the blessings of and support and say add a girl, add a boy for these two large organizations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So someone likes what you're doing. So what's the California Dream Fund? Is that about the Beach Boys or what?
So that was a funding opportunity that came from the California Office of Small Business Advocate.
Okay.
And thanks to that fund, we met a mutual contact, Mihai Patru from the Caravanserai Project, who introduced us to you.
Oh, yes, I know Mihai. He's a legend.
Yes.
Okay. So I always say money always flows to good ideas. So a lot of people out there like your ideas and what your mission statement is. Otherwise, the money would not flow.
Yeah.
Because it's a competitive marketplace. Everybody would like a grant, right? But not everybody gets it. So, Gina, what did you learn from your grandmother that made you the business person, scientist you are today?
Oh, it was my grandmother and mother. Um, just seeing my grandmother never gave up.
Okay.
He always worked very hard. And my mother kind of took that, and my mother and father had started their own business when I was younger. And
Okay. So you're a daughter of a couple of entrepreneurs.
yep. And I didn't
Okay.
think about that until later in life.
And you go, but I don't want that. I want to go to academia. Oh, no, maybe I should go back to being an entrepreneur. Maybe mom and dad had it right. Call your own shots, make your own schedule, take a vacation anytime you want to, no paperwork, always in charge. No, sorry. What about you, Richard? What'd you learn from your parents and grandparents
My
that
parents,
set you the man you are today to run this company with your wife?
thank you. Thank you. They taught me love, I think is one of the biggest things. I come from two engineers that graduated from MIT, and they moved out to the Silicon Valley from the East Coast. And I was very fortunate to grow up in the entrepreneurial culture there. But I was very much the black sheep of the family also. I got in a lot of trouble, and they were very patient with me.
And what caused this black sheepiness?
I don't, that's a good question. You have to sit down with the therapist and dig into that. But I always had a very contrarian viewpoint to things. And when people would run one way, I'd run the other way. And I think that's really benefited me and us in a lot of things, in that being able to take that, and then once I finally was able to put on the hat of academics and engineering, blend those two together. And on one side, we get this great structure, and on the other side, we get this kind of chaotic biased action.
Yeah. Well, that's a very insightful comment, because how many times have we heard this situation where someone says, so why don't we do it this way? Oh, no, we always do it this way. Well, why not the other way? Well, we just always do it this way. Has anybody ever considered doing it the other way? Well, no, not really. We like the way we do it this way. You know, entrepreneurs are graduates of, why don't we try it a different way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be that. You can't be me too, right? I mean, you have to kind of march to the beat of your own drum. So what would you say is, other than access to capital is important? What have you learned from your 4-year journey thus far?
Working together.
And how does that work out? Does Richard ever sleep on the sofa because he doesn't agree with you, or what?
No, but I think he's probably too.
I got you. You know, all this talking is making me hungry. Do you have any free food for me?
We'll send some your way. And we'll saute up some insects for you if you want to try them out.
That's funny. No, I'm just, you know, entrepreneurs, they don't happen by accident. There's an event, there's their family dynamics, there's their passion, there's their drive, and even more successful ones. It's not being lucky, it's learning as you go. And you learn more about your business than you can in any book, internet, blog.
Oh yeah.
You learn by doing. And you guys are off to a great start.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if land is scarce and water is scarce, and there are still hungry people all over all the world, I mean, I know that's an ambitious goal, but little by little, you'd like to chip away at that, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, we have people in the United States that don't have enough food, not to mention the third world countries, which is my next question. Can you take your ideas and do it globally? Have you thought about that? Or you've always thought about that? It just takes the money.
Absolutely, in both. We've talked to people about going international. We also want to make sure that we do right by the communities that we come from. So here in the Inland Empire, I'd never heard of a food desert before, and San Bernardino is a food desert where
No, I did not know that. Wow.
so
Yeah, there's several food deserts within not just the city of San Bernardino, but many in the county as well.
What's the definition of a food desert?
It's where people don't have access to fresh food. Oftentimes they're too far away from like a grocery store that has like fresh produce.
I see.
Mhm.
Like Death Valley.
Yeah.
Maybe
But
that's
live out there, but
maybe that's go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
people in San Bernardino, if you don't have a car, and there's not a grocery store or a place that has fresh food, how are they going to get that on a regular basis? Oftentimes they are left with, a lot of highly processed food, and that's the access that they have. So
Yeah, there seems like a lot of people are talking about all the pesticides in food, and more and more people are tuned into that. And what you're working on is free of that.
yeah.
Is the term organic fair in terms of what you do?
Yes, absolutely.
And how are the two of yours diet? Do you eat well?
sometimes
We're getting
cover days.
Have you heard of the organic donut?
Sounds delicious.
I'm just kidding. So, what would you like to share other than the capital, other than I've already asked you, if you were to give a couple of takeaways for today's show, for today's listener, what would you share with them?
um so I
Especially young people, because you're role models, whether you realize it or not.
yeah, I um it's been kind of a challenging path that I feel that I've taken. Nobody in my family's done what I've done or tried to pursue. So, the college route, and then the science route, and then PhD, um, let alone trying to invent and then sell a new product that nobody really ever has. It's um, there's been a lot of learning lessons, but I keep a couple mantras for myself to keep going because some days are more challenging than others. And I don't know, I'm a big movie buff, and so there's two of my favorites. Have you seen Finding Nemo?
Yes.
So one of my favorites, I say to myself if I'm having a hard time, is I say just keep swimming, and then I do the cute just keep swimming. And then also Galaxy Quest, there's one, it says never give up and never surrender. And these two things might seem kind of silly, but they've helped me through some hard times. Like, okay, don't give up. Just there's a lot of support out there that you can go and find. And some things you just have to kind of keep going, keep swimming. Because, we have a good idea, but we have to keep going to see if this how big this can get, because it's going to help a lot of people. So
Well, I think that's a great best practice for my listeners, for everybody in general, is don't give up. I'm sure, Richard, you would echo the same sentiments. Um, uh, it's interesting because it's not glamorous running your own business.
no.
You'd like it to be, but it is really, really hard work. I know that. I've had several businesses. And so, do you feel like you're kind of going through this transformative experience between being scientists, academicians, and now, oh, I got to learn about boring business? But really, if you're not a good business person, your business will not be sustainable. So the learning curve in terms of your space has to increase, and at the same time parallel your business acumen, if you will. Otherwise, all that hard work goes down the tubes because you're not in business anymore.
Yeah.
That's a hard transformation. I had not met very many scientists or academicians that are good business people. Look at my doctor. Great doctor, but a lousy business guy. You know, he didn't go into business to be a business person. He went into business to help people, right? I know, but you gotta make a profit, or else your practice will not sustain itself.
Absolutely.
I think one of the coolest things about school is we learn about ourselves, and we're learning how to learn. And no matter what it is,
That's a good way to put it. Learning how to learn. I like that.
no matter
Awesome.
what it is that you study, if we can take that learning how to learn, and maybe we did science and engineering over here, but now we're learning how to learn, we're applying that learning to business and marketing and sales, which to us is a very new thing.
And I have
Yeah, and for all my listeners, it's the same thing. It's don't give up and learn a little bit every day. Just if it's one new thing, keep adding it to your skill base, because after a certain period of time, you'll wake up and you'll say, geez, you'll be kind of proud of yourself. I know a lot about business now that I didn't know a year ago. And that will sustain you. So in any event, I'm very proud of the two of you. Thank you for clarifying the dancing in the mud. I was really, really concerned about that. I thought that you guys were just out there having fun and not taking care of your business, but it all comes circular now. So, and to think from San Bernardino, local girl does good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Richard, where were you born and raised in?
Oh, I was very fortunate. I come from Palo Alto.
Oh, okay. I've heard that. Heard of that city. You know, Palo Alto that's tall trees, I believe. Yeah, isn't that where Google's headquarters is?
Mountain View, right next door.
Yeah. Okay. That's a wrap, unless you have any other pearls of wisdom on my diet. I love what you're doing. I think it's cutting edge stuff. Make your own food, make it healthy. Don't use up all our resources. Solve one of community's ills.
I got one thing, Gene.
Yes, sir.
Interview with Angie Lopez, and she said you got to take action. And
yeah,
one thing I left people with, you got to take action.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, young people are go action people. Man, you wouldn't be here today if you weren't, because so many people think about something, but they don't actually do it. But, you know, by definition, you're here and you're on my show that over 10 billion people listen to.
Oh my goodness.
Just kidding. they're all in China. All right. So that's a wrap. Listeners, if you love the show, catch me on February the 21st on my YouTube channel, CDO to Rainmaker. You can access me through all of the general podcasts such as Apple, Google, Spotify, Audible. And if you want to go to my website and see all of the episodes, including today's, it might make you hungry. CEO, the number 2, RAIN, Rain, MKR maker.com. And so that is a wrap. Thank you for listening. And thank you for the two of you for carving out the time. It was a great show. And just what you're doing is wonderful. We just need the whole world to know.
Thank you.
Or, well, maybe not the whole world.
We can go the whole world.
All right. So that total world domination. That's a good goal. All right. See you guys later. And audience, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye now.
This has been CEO to Rainmaker with Gene Valdez. To find out more, like us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. If you have questions, email the show. Find that link and others in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and join us again next time.